As Icarus fell to Earth, his father Daedalus could only watch as his son's youthful overconfidence would lead to his demise. Icarus was not alone, however, as his father's arrogance and ego had gotten them here in the first place. Daedalus was a great architect who was born in Athens. Great is an understatement, however, as Daedalus was known to break the limits on what mortals could do. It's said that his sculptures had to be tied down because they would often come to life. He is even said to have invented architecture and every tool used in it. During his time in Athens, there was only one man who had the potential to overtake him in skill, which was his nephew, Talos. Daedalus taught Talos about sculpture and architecture, but when he realized that Talos would overtake him, he threw him off the edge of a cliff. Talos was saved by the goddess Athena, which was done by turning Talos into a bird. However, because of this, Daedalus was exiled from Athens and into Crete. King Minos of Crete welcomed Daedalus with open arms, hearing about his incredible capabilities as an architect and sculptor. He continued his work in Crete, making toys for the king's children that were so lifelike they were mistaken for actual life, and inventing the sails on a sailboat. He also had a son in Crete named Icarus, although there isn't any information about Icarus's early life. The story could have ended here, but Daedalus then decided to wrong the king. The king's wife, Pasiphae, had been cursed by Poseidon into falling in love with a bull, and after begging Daedalus, he agreed to help her mate with the bull. He constructed a hollow wooden cow that Pasiphae could fit into, that was so lifelike that the bull would be tricked into... I won't get into detail. Pasiphae and the bull had an offspring which was a half-bull, half-man, the Minotaur. King Minos, hearing of this, was angry with Daedalus and ordered him to construct a labyrinth that the Minotaur would be housed in. Even though Minos was initially outraged, he actually found the Minotaur very useful, using it to maintain a reign of terror over Crete. However, this reign of terror would come to a halt when Theseus, with the help of Daedalus, slayed the Minotaur. This was the last straw for King Minos, as this was the second time Daedalus had enraged him. So King Minos... God, I keep switching his pronunciation. So King Minos decided to trap both Daedalus and his son Icarus in the tallest tower in Crete, imprisoning them both. It was here where Daedalus got inspiration from birds in the sky and came up with a plan for escape. He collected feathers from the birds and used them to make wings that he and Icarus would use to fly away. But for everything to go smoothly, he gave Icarus a very simple instruction. Don't go too close to the sea or else your wings will go damp and make them too heavy, and don't fly too close to the sky or the sun will melt the wax off the wings. The key is to stay in the middle. As Icarus and Daedalus made their escape, Icarus was overcome with a sense of divineness. No human had ever flown before, only gods and birds could do that. And so, Icarus, overcome with emotion, ignored his father's warnings. Daedalus could only watch as his son's wings melted, and he fell to the earth. Icarus ended up drowning in the sea. This myth is inherently psychological, as its purpose is to explore and warn against youthful overconfidence and arrogance. Daedalus was an incredibly talented architect, and Icarus was given a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but they both threw it away because of their ego. This myth also contains many classic mythological features, such as a fantastical setting in the form of both the labyrinth and the sky as they're flying, the idea of anthropomorphic gods with the featuring of Poseidon, and monsters in the form of a minotaur. However, I think that this myth is more interesting with the story of Daedalus included, unlike how most people tell it, where Daedalus is seen as an afterthought when in reality, he has a lot more backstory. I think that some of Daedalus's ego may have rubbed off on his son, and that by the time he tried to warn him and correct his mistakes, it was already too late. The tale of a young man overwhelmed by ego, and the tale of a great architect overwhelmed by past mistakes.